have to say can make an effect. So this program that I've put together is kind of an entry-level program. It's called Social Media for the Grassroots Activist. Honey. Now, the objectives this evening are going to be, what is social media? Why social media? How can social media help the grassroots activist? Twitter basic training, Twitter tools, Facebook, other forms of social media for the grassroots activists, smartphone applications, staying connected with the campaigns, suggested tweets to follow. I'll tell you what a tweet is later. And some final thoughts. Go ahead, babe. What is social media? Y'all can see it already, but does anybody, how do you, someone raise their hand if they have an answer. What do you think of, what do you consider social media without looking at this? Facebook, Twitter.
People to people communication.
Yeah, it could be, yes. That could be social media. Social media is a whole lot of things. When we think of social media, we think of web-based technologies or mobile-based technologies. It's a form in which is used to turn communications into interactive dialogue among organizations, communities, individuals. It includes Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, internet forums, web blogs, hence my editorial, social blogs, podcasts, photographs, pictures, video. That kind of sums up social media. We can use all of these tools. Why social media? In 2008, Obama and the Democrats handed us our collective butts on a silver platter. In large part, go ahead, babe, to the next one. In large part, aside from the fact that we had a candidate who was not very enthusiastic, what the left did to us in the realm of social media is just unreal. But it's not 2008 anymore, folks. It's 2012. And Twitter has not only changed everything, it's allowing everyday American conservatives, all of us, the opportunity to beat Media Matters and these corrupt fact-checkers at their own game, i.e. George Soros. Go ahead. Social media is an equalizer and an ecosystem where the mainstream media, MSM, types are no longer insulated in their bubble. More and more news narratives start on Twitter. The media no longer gets the last word, and the left is losing the social media war. And of this I can guarantee you. I have an open feed. I can see anybody that wants to post. Look, without going into who we support, I support Ted Cruz. I'm constantly tweeting about Ted Cruz. The campaigns that I have worked for and that I volunteer for, along with my circle of friends in Tarrant County, they will tell us up front, do your thing, tweet. They like us to tweet, and they don't care, as long as we stay morally focused and upright in what we're tweeting, they want us tweeting. But I'll go more into that in a few minutes. We've not only caught up in the world of social media, we have surpassed the Democrats and the liberals in the realm of social media. And we now own the narrative. I assure you, we own the narrative in social media. And we're winning the war. We're making the difference. Please. How can social media help the grassroots activist? Well, first of all, by building networks of other grassroots activists, you can create a base that enables you to spread the message of the campaign or whatever the cause might be that you want to get out there. In my case, it's always about the candidate. And then disseminate that information among your network, either on Facebook or Pinterest or LinkedIn or Twitter. Utilizing the broad-based network of activists to disseminate this information who then distribute it among their networks. Now think about this for a moment. I have 600 friends on Facebook and over 800 on Twitter. When I put something on either one of those, it's to people that generally have a fair amount of followers themselves, who have followers that have a fair amount of followers. It's what do they call it? The rule of 9. I mean, it just keeps multiplying and multiplying. That's name ID recognition. Go ahead to the next one. How does social media and the grassroots activist help the candidate or the cause? And this is what I was going into. Social media makes a huge impact on the candidate or cause's name ID recognition. That's important. And I think we're starting to see that reflected in Ted Cruz's internal poll numbers right now. We're up 9 points over David Dewhurst. Now, that's his internal polls, but that comes from name ID recognition. That name ID recognition comes from a lot of different things. It comes from Twitter. It comes from Facebook. It comes from all the social media outlets. It comes from Tea Party leaders like Sarah Palin and Herman Cain getting behind him. The more information we get out there to dispel the myths and the lies that are being told about our candidate, then that sets a trend, which we'll get into here shortly, but you can get trending topics on Twitter. And then those trending topics, people start looking for those trending topics, and that person's name gets more known, well known. Ted's living proof of this. I'll guarantee you our Twitter campaign, when I jumped on board with Santorum, there was pretty much a non-existent Twitter campaign. I jumped on board with some other gun-ho Twitterers and social media activists. Name ID recognition started going up, and I bet I could graph a corresponding peak or upward movement in his poll numbers. It helps the candidate or cause to get the much-needed $100 to $250 donation, and I'll show you a graph on that here in a moment. It helps the candidate to get the endorsements from the other grassroots leaders and officials. And it does most of the time. One of the campaigns that I work very diligently on is to oust Bob Corker up in Tennessee. Zach Poskovich is a good friend of mine. And we've been doing a very heavy Twitter campaign. I still haven't managed to get Mark or Herman or any of those guys to endorse him, so it hadn't helped in that particular area. I don't know why, but it generally does. Go ahead, next slide. How does social media translate into endorsements and or dollars? Now, I'm going to use some graphs that y'all have probably seen. Next slide, please. Ted Cruz endorsements. As you can see, Republican women endorsements, 200 plus to Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst's 12. Tea Party leader endorsements, 200 plus, and it's not even applicable on Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst. Facebook fans, 79,000 to 27,000. Twitter followers, 23,000, and this is an old chart, 23,000 to 6,000. And let me tell you, I look for Dewhurst tweets. They're non-existent. When you couple everything, you couple the endorsements from the Sarah Palins and the Herman Cains, what we all do with social media, that has a direct effect on these endorsements. Go ahead, next slide. And it has a direct effect on donations. Contributions made from Texas cities, 865 to 265. Average contribution, 167 as opposed to 1,600. Now that tells you where his money's coming from and where his money's coming from. I know where his is coming from because a lot of it's mine. Total PAC contributions, 86,000 to 800,000. Total donors, 22,000 to 3,000. And then you've got your total donations, 37,000 to 3,800. Twitter, Facebook, all of your social media outlets, they have a direct, especially on the money, they have a direct contributing result to these figures. When we get more into Twitter, I'll teach you about putting URLs and linking people back to places where they can give money. They're going to hit those things and they're, what the heck? Take out the Barclay card. I'll give Ted $10. $10 buys 2 press kits or 5 yard signs or whatever. So, it works. I know it works. Next slide, please, babe. So let's get into some of what you need to know, okay? Twitter basic training, the tweet, the retweet, the hashtag, and follow Friday. Now, these are the 4 things that I'd like to cover. They're the basic Twitter functions that you need to know. The tweet is your first venture into the Twittersphere. Typically, a tweet is a short message contained in 140 characters or less to get out a piece of information on a certain topic. Pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead, next one. What you need to know is how to construct the tweet, because you've only got 140 characters to mess with. So, in this particular example, and this is me, I'm at Cons Nation Radio, by the way. And anybody that's an activist, I follow back. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. We'll go over some tweets to follow at the end of this presentation. In this particular case, what I'm saying is that Ted Cruz, in regards to Obama's assault on Constitution and religious freedom and consolidation of power, Ted is saying that it's troubling and shocking. Okay, so RE, in regards to that, Ted is saying it's troubling and shocking. And then what we have here is a URL where Ted's talking about why this is troubling and shocking. And then they get to read a whole article. Well, guess what? They read that whole article, they agree with it. What do? They send Ted $5. Exactly. Next slide, babe. The retweet. Now, as important as the tweet is, there's some other things that are as important, if not more important, especially to build your networks. The whole objective, and I can't stress this enough, is building your network. We're Tea Party, 912ers, liberty activists, conservative activists such as myself. It's about building our network. We build our network. It's almost like, what's that company, Amway? It's like a pyramid scheme in a way. We each build our networks, and it just kind of trickles down or trickles up, however you want to look at it. I disseminate to you, you disseminate to her, so on and so forth, and it multiplies. The retweet, part of the objective for retweeting grassroots and Tea Party messages is getting out the name of our candidate. That, to me, is always the #1 goal, is getting my candidate's name out there as often and as much as I can. Retweeting messages by other tweeters is a vital part for the activist. The retweet says, I agree with you and thank you for providing good content to a fellow tweeter. Go ahead, next one, baby. I assure you that retweets are appreciated and they're remembered and they're returned. And this is how you build your network. If you never retweet, if everyone retweets anything you put out and you don't retweet in kind, they're going to quit retweeting you. And then that breaks down the whole objective. It also helps build your follower base since you're usually retweeting like-minded individuals. In turn, those individuals begin to retweet you. So it's a circle, is really what it is. Go ahead, next page, baby. So a retweet, this is a basic retweet. And the RT can be at the beginning or the end. On this particular one, I'm retweeting this person, Eye on Freedom, who actually retweeted me. Well, actually, I'm not retweeting him. He retweeted me. So what this is saying is that Eye on Freedom retweeted me when I was talking about Ted Cruz's pressing for full accountability in the Fast and Furious scandal. And then you'll notice we've got some hashtags down here. So it's the person who's retweeting the original message. RT indicates that you're retweeting them, and then what's being retweeted.